Okay, welcome to the eBay tutorial on how to block potentially fraudulent or undesirable bidders on eBay. This is a tutorial aimed at sellers, especially new sellers, who want to prevent troublesome or even suspicious bidders from bidding on their items. So the first step is to go to the eBay homepage, ebay.com for the US or ebay.co.uk for the UK, and sign into your eBay account. That's the first step. Now at the bottom of the page there's a link that you may not be familiar with, but it's one of the most useful links on the whole eBay site because it's an access point to everything you need on the whole site. If you scroll to the bottom of the page, third from the end, you'll see a link called Sitemap. The font is very small, so you might miss it if you don't pay special attention. Mouse over Sitemap and click. Now what we're looking for is a page called Buyer Requirements, and Buyer Requirements is a very powerful tool for excluding bidders who you don't trust or who you have had problems with in the past. This can save you money, time and headaches as a seller on the eBay site. So once you've clicked on Sitemap, you'll see that the page is broken down into multiple categories. The links are broken down by category, for example buying, selling, community activity, safety and so on. What you need to do is zero in on one particular resource. Now if you can see the My eBay section, which is more or less in the center of the page, there is a heading beneath that called My Account. Now if you go about halfway down, there's a sublink called Preferences. So what you need to do is mouse over and click on Preferences. And that will take you to a new page called Site Preferences. Now there are many other resources on this site, but the one we're looking for in particular is Buyer Requirements. What we need to do is open it up so we can make decisions about which kinds of buyers we don't want bidding on our items. So if you scroll about halfway down the page, there's a link called Buyer Requirements, and in order to use it you need to display it first. So there's a hyperlink on the right hand side called Show. First of all, click on that. This opens up a sublink which allows you to edit your buyer requirements. So if you look on the right hand side, there's a heading saying block buyers who, and what we need to do is check off the criteria for blocking those bidders. So if you've clicked on the edit button, it will open up all the options that you have. Now I will go through each of the options in turn and explain the benefit of using that option. Now keep in mind, as a new seller on the site, the more people you block, the less potential bidders on your items. You need bids and positive feedback to improve your reputation, so you'll need to use judgment to strike a balance between blocking undesirable bidders and allowing potential bids on your items. If you overdo it, you could end up with no bids at all. At the same time, you want to maximize the quantity of genuine bidders. Under Buyer Requirements, there's a section called Select Requirements. The first option is block buyers without a PayPal account. Now there's a certain proportion of people, especially new buyers, who may not have a PayPal account, but all things being equal, a buyer with a PayPal account is more trustworthy than one without. Be careful about this if you are listing in a category where people traditionally prefer other payment methods. Now there's a tick box on the left hand side. If you tick that, and that's the only blocking you need to do, you can scroll to the bottom of the page and click Submit. Congratulations, no one without a PayPal account should be able to bid on your items. The next section is buyers who have unpaid items recorded. So what does this mean? Buyers with unpaid items are buyers who've previously won an item and may not have paid for it. The seller has opened a case and they have won the dispute. So these buyers are overall more likely not to pay in future. A small minority of these buyers may even be fraudulent. And you can control the block by the number of unpaid cases by selecting from the drop-down box. Now the next section is buyers in locations which I don't post to. So naturally, if you list an item as domestic only or specify you don't post to certain countries, it makes sense to physically block those bids using Buyer Requirements also. Fraudulent bids occasionally come from overseas, so that's another reason you may want to block them. Again, all you need to do is tick the tick box. The next section down is buyers with policy breach reports. These are buyers with any known policy breaches, for example, members who have bidded on their own items, listed items forbidden by eBay, or sold items which may not be authentic. Again, you can select the number of policy breaches using the drop-down box, and once again you can block them by ticking the box. The next section down is block buyers with a negative feedback score. Now remember, buyers can no longer receive negative feedback from sellers, so this won't block buyers who've received negative buying feedback, since that's not possible. But if they are a buyer who is also a seller and has received negative feedback for selling, you can block them by ticking the box on the left-hand side. Buyers who may bid on several of my items but not pay for them. So if you want to zero in on a problem buyer who has already won multiple bids on your items, you can actually block them. So you can select the number of items already won with the drop-down menu. If you have a member who has won 7 items, for example, from you already and has no intention of paying, or perhaps is even harassing you or threatening to leave you negative feedback, you can at the very least prevent further damage from extra items they may attempt to win. You can use the sub-menu to tailor this to certain buyers by selecting the feedback score of the blocked buyers using the drop-down menu. Just below this, you have the option to apply the settings to future listings. So if you don't want your current active items to be affected, you can check the tick box. And the last one down is very useful. Some of the suspicious activity on eBay is carried out by members contacting members via eBay email. Suspicious users may contact you and try to get you to send items or funds to another country. If you wish to block such buyers or other buyers who are harassing you, you can tick the box on the left-hand side. After you've made all the choices you want from the buyer requirements list, and you're happy with it and you've reviewed them, in order to submit these changes, simply click on the submit button and then you will have created a profile for your buyer requirements list. In a later tutorial we can take a look at the buyer requirements exemption list. What's this? It's a list of people who don't meet your buyer requirements criteria but who you want to bid on your items anyway. You can make an allowance for them. So thank you for paying attention. Please post comments below with any questions or requests, and remember, feedback is always welcome.